Last week was about frustration. This week, I wanted redemption. But sometimes the excitement of a new ball can get in your way. Coming off that tough week 5, I just wanted to throw it better. Not chase perfection, but just execute. I started with the Phaze II, and right out of the gate, I left back to back stone nines. I mean, these were just great, great shots. They were just driving through the pocket a little bit too hard. Fortunately, able to clean them both up. So after those 2 stone 9s, I pulled out my brand new Harsh Reality Pearl. I literally just got it this league night, so I was really excited to try it out. I just wanted to throw it, see what it could do, but in hindsight, I should have trusted the Phaze II and probably moved 2 to 3 boards left with my feet and maybe one with my eyes. But instead, I chased reaction instead of trusting my execution. So this kind of got me in trouble all night. Now I've switched over to my Equinox because I wanted to go a little bit longer. I wanted to change the shape, but with this shot, it went a little bit too long. So I'm like, I just need to calm down. I need to think it through. You know, we throw the shot. We actually tug it, but I mean, it works out in this case because we needed to hit the left side of the head pin anyway. Sticking with the Equinox on the right lane, we kind of tug it a little bit, but we get the lucky kick out on the 4 pin. So, you know, it went a little high, but we got the lucky kick. Again, sticking with the Equinox here. The Equinox was probably my most consistent ball and most used ball for week 6, but we would push it out, and this is what would happen. We'd miss the head pin completely. We'd wash out the entire right side of the rack and leave ourselves with the 1, 2, 4. Pretty consistent in picking those up. One thing that I do know that I need to work on is cleaning up my frames. In this entire block, I missed way too many makeable spares, and that's really what's keeping me back from getting my 600 series. And a lot of bowlers will go through this where it's like, how can I reach that next level? How can I reach that next level? And it's making your spares, and that's really what I got to work on. Now we're switching back over to the Harsh Reality. Ball is not looking like I want it to look. And again, I'm just chasing reaction, and I'm not actually making micro adjustments that I should be. Maybe I shouldn't be playing these wider angles, but we end game 1 with a 167. Not great. Nowhere near the 200 that I'm looking for. But we start game 2 back with the Harsh Reality. And again, as I was saying, really want to try to tighten up these angles, especially in league play. There's no reason to play these wide angles, try to cover this many boards. It gives you too much room for error, gives you too much room to tug left or push right, and you really want to try to limit how you play, especially when you start going into tournament scenarios where you're going to want to play closer to the pocket. There's no reason for that right there, right? We shot the ball, ended up pushing it way too right and went into the gutter. Fortunately, we clean up the frame. That should have been our first ball right there. We do find some lines with these balls that work, but again, I'm chasing the reaction instead of just making adjustments like I should. And again, part of this is because, hey, I want to see how this ball reacts. I want to see what it does. This is supposed to be my heavy oil ball, and you know, I'm trying to play it in the middle. I want to see what it's going to do, but I'm hurting my team at the same time by doing this because I don't know the reaction of this ball. So we make another switch over back to the Phaze II, and we throw a couple decent shots. You know, as long as we're hitting our mark, we're doing pretty good. So moving forward for next week, week 7, I'm gonna focus on just using 2 balls. We're not gonna be ball switching every other frame. Um, we're gonna work on making adjustments, whether it's hand adjustments, feet, eyes. We want to be able to control the pocket. We're gonna play a little bit tighter line. We're gonna probably play, I don't know, 15, anywhere from like 13 to 16 at the arrows. This is a standard house shot, so we do have some give and take on the left and right. You know, if we push it left, it should go a little farther. If we keep right, it should come back. But a standard house shot is about anywhere from 39 to 41 feet. And I'll make a video on this later, but there's the rule of 31 where if you know the length of the pattern, you subtract 31, and that's about your break point. So ideally, let's say this is 40 foot. Let's just say this pattern is 40 foot. I don't know exactly. Our break point's going to be at the 9 board. So we can play a little bit more up the back of the ball, play a little bit more down and in. I'm seeing more people score with some of these down and ins, and we don't have to cover as many boards. This should, in theory, and we'll see next week when we do week 7, this should, in theory, limit our margin of error, like the amount of errors that we can make, because we're not having to push far right or push far left. Game 2, we ended with a solid 204. Ideally, would have liked to have been higher. I'd like to be in like the 220s pretty consistently, but we start game 3 with the harsh reality. Again, another ball change. We're on ball change number 5 for the series. You know, we're talking about 36 frames here, and we're on frame 25, and we've already switched the ball 5 times. I mean, things like this just aren't feasible. It doesn't, you can't build consistency. We've switched the ball again. We're back to the Phaze II, missing a little high. So now we're just kind of lost in the sauce right now. We're chasing the reaction. We're not getting the reaction. We're missing easy spares. Here comes another one. Yep, another ball change back to the harsh reality. Because we want the pearl, we saw that it hit high. The Phaze II hit high, so we want a pearl that's going to glide through the mid lanes a little bit more and then read and hit the back end a little bit harder. And that's exactly what happened there. But we shouldn't be making these many changes. I mean, we're making a ball change pretty much every 4 or 5 frames when you break it down. So we're not creating any consistency. We're not giving ourselves a chance. We're getting frustrated. We're missing easy spares. Now we've switched over to the Equinox and we shank it left. I believe this one got stuck on my thumb. You see me shake my hand like that. So we kind of washed that one off, but you know, we're missing these easy spares, and these spares are the difference between, you know, a 180 and a 210. And as a new bowler or as a bowler coming back, where you're gonna make your money is in your spares. Yes, strikes are great, they're flashy, but the difference between a good bowler and a great bowler is if they're able to close out frames. Right now, we have a really good look with the Equinox. It's performing really well down lane. It's reading the lane well. The pins are carrying really well. We're hitting flush. Everything looks magnificent and beautiful. So what we should be doing is we should be just sticking to that. Now right there, lost my balance and we shanked it left. We were able to recover, but overall we end the last game with a 175. And as you can see here on the scorecard, we shot a 546. Now, a lot of people would count that as respectable, but that's not my goal. My goal is to be averaging 200 plus to get my PBA card. And I know that's a high expectation for somebody coming back for the first time after 20 years. But I think if you have to set goals, you want to set goals that you know you can attain. And I'm really confident that I can attain this. I just have to get back to my basics, get back to my fundamentals, and just get back to thinking about the game in its most simplistic form. Because when you're at a tournament, there's going to be so much going on. There's going to be lane patterns. There's going to be transition. There's going to be pressure to perform. There's going to be, am I going to make the cash cut? All that good stuff. So guys, we're going to see you in the next one. Week 7 should be better. We're going to focus with 2 balls. We're going to focus with the Equinox and the Phaze II. And this time I won't forget a spare ball like I did here in week 7. So we'll see you guys in the next one.